on, everybody? This is your friendly neighborhood coach, and this is the next episode of the Locker Room. Listen, I'm on here a little bit later. I do apologize, but it's been a long day. You got up and sat up and watched the Buckeyes beat that team up north. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Cavaliers and what's going on with them. We'll get with the Browns tomorrow. They play the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be Shador Sanders' first start. And I got a couple other opinions when it comes to fixing the Cleveland Browns. So if y'all are ready, sit back, relax, and let's get ready to enjoy the locker room.
Yo. A design for disaster. From the mind of the master. Plot thicker than encyclopedias with unlimited chapters. Face like I play poker, so you get no hints of the takeover. We here to bulldoze the slave owners. Call us insidious, cause we reject the silliness and refuse to participate in your game of idiots. I'm so annoyed by the trashy. More flashy than the paparazzi. I avoid with flashing they Polaroids. I'm not your hero. Light up the signal. You SOL, I'm busy. Sipping my Tito's in the casino. Go ahead.
Yes, once again, this is your friendly neighborhood coach, and you are here with the next installment of the Locker Room. Listen, y'all, it's been a tremendous Saturday for all Buckeye fans. We're going to get into that in a moment. Like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers and what's going on with them right now. We're going to get into the Browns. The Browns play tomorrow. They play the San Francisco 49ers at First Energy Stadium downtown, and we're going to get into Shador Sanders' first NFL start at home. All right. And then at the end, I'm going to do my coach's rant. We're going to talk a little bit about what we can do. If I was a general manager, what would I do? Or the owner, what would I do to fix the Cleveland Browns? So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. They played the team up north. For those that don't know what that means, if you're not a Buckeye fan, it is the Michigan Wolverines. And so the Buckeyes came out on top. They remain undefeated. They are 11-0, 9-0 in the conference. It was a snowy game, but it was a good game. And I'm not saying it was a good game because the Ohio State Buckeyes won. I'm saying it's a good game because they not only beat Michigan, they dominated them. All right. In the first series, it didn't seem like it was going to be that great. Julian Sain threw an interception, but the Buckeye defense was absolutely tremendous, led by Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator. It was an absolutely tremendous game plan defensively. They suffocated the Wolverines, all right? And then Julian Sain went 19 for 26 for 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Bo Jackson, yes, Cleveland's own Bo Jackson, went for 22 carries for 117 yards. And Carnell Tate made his return, and so did Jeremiah Smith. Carnell Tate had 5 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown, and Jeremiah Smith had 3 receptions for 40 yards and a tutty. And we cannot forget Brandon Ennis, that third wide receiver, went 2 for 12, 2 receptions for 12 yards and a touchdown. It was an all-around dominant performance by the Ohio State Buckeyes, okay? It was complete just beat down of the team from up north. And it actually vindicated Ryan Day. Okay, it vindicated Ryan Day. Ryan Day was 1-4 against the Michigan Wolverines. And so now he has now kind of lifted that off his back, at least for this year. All right, because it's a year-by-year thing. So at least for this year, Ryan Day got it off his back. Now, the one thing I did notice from the Buckeyes and from Ryan Day is that Ryan Day was completely and utterly aggressive from the kickoff. Where last year he played a little tentatively, he played a little skittish, a little scary. This year he did not play scaried at all. All right, he came out and he attacked the Wolverine defense offensively. And then the Buckeye defense attacked the Wolverines offensively. All right. The young quarterback for Michigan, Underwood, I don't understand as I sit here today why Michigan did not throw the football more often. They did a lot of running, and the Buckeyes defense was just so stout. They sat in there and they just waited for the Wolverines. Okay, there were times where you could just tell that from my observation that the Wolverines just They were playing not to get blown out. I really believe that. They weren't aggressive at all. That defensive line got absolutely no penetration. Julian Sain stood back in the pocket all day. There was no form of heat or penetration that took place from the Michigan Wolverines. It was just an ultimate dominant performance by the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, what is next? What is next is the Big Ten Championship and Indiana. Indiana is also undefeated. Indiana is ranked number 2 in the country, where Ohio State is ranked number 1 in the country. It is going to be a battle of undefeated. All right. And so that will take place next Saturday. All right. I'm really looking forward to this game because I've heard a lot about Indiana. Hadn't had an opportunity to watch Indiana this year, but I did see highlights at one time when they beat Penn State, with a last second touchdown pass. The quarterback for Indiana and Julian Sain, the quarterback for Ohio State, they're both Heisman Trophy candidates. So I believe that in this game that your Heisman Trophy winner will come out of this game. Okay. I just believe that. All right. I believe that one of the two quarterbacks, or the quarterback who has the best showing in this Big Ten championship, will be the leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy. And let me say this. I think it was a CBS. They did a poll of the top quarterbacks in college football, and they did not have Julian Sain on that top 10 list. Now, I'm not saying Julian Sain's got to be number 1. I'm not saying that. But if you got a top 10 list of quarterbacks in college football and you do not have Julian Sain on that list, then your list is invalid to me. And I think when I read it, it talked about, well, because of the weapons he has. Don't penalize this kid because he's got 2 first-round draft picks as wide receivers. That's not his fault. Okay? He's still leading the nation in accuracy in terms of passing. Okay? So you can't, once again, for me, I call it the Buckeye hatred. There's just so many writers across America that just can't stand that the Buckeyes are actually the best team in the country. All right. And so, like I said, just an ultimately dominant performance from the Ohio State Buckeyes beating the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan has some things they need to do. Now, one thing I will say when it comes to the big game is that this game is not just about winning or going to the national championship. This game is also about recruiting, because I've noticed over the years, and I've watched this game for a very long time, and I've noticed that the team that wins, the recruits go to that school. So, this is the best time for recruiting at Ohio State and at Michigan. All right. And like I said, Michigan has won the last 4. Okay, they won 4 straight. They beat the Buckeyes 4 straight. Yes, the Buckeyes won a national championship, but I'm old school. And so somebody asked me, they said, Coach, would you be, coming from Ohio, would you rather have the national championship and lose to the Wolverines? I said, I'd rather beat the Wolverines and win the national championship. I'm greedy. That's just the way it is. And the way I was brought up in this rivalry is I don't care if you're 0 for all day. You have to beat the Wolverines. Okay? Or your season means nothing. Now, am I going to poo-poo the national championship from last year? No, I'm not. I'll take that. But it's just something about beating Michigan. And I know people going to say you keep referring to them, but that's just the way it is. The Michigan Wolverines and the Ohio State Buckeyes have been a rivalry for years. And the way that I came up was nothing else mattered if you did not beat, Michigan. And at one point in time, the game against the Wolverines was always to see who would go to the national championship. So to me, that hasn't changed. Okay. I mean, Yes, the Buckeyes won the national championship last year, but it still was a sour taste in my mouth because of the fact that we lost to the Wolverines. So now the question is asked, now you've beaten the Wolverines. If you don't win the national championship, is it still a successful season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Herm Edwards said this better than anybody. You play to win the game. So when you start playing football in college, the honest is to win the national championship. That's the honest. So the Buckeyes got over one hurdle, which was to beat the Wolverines. Now the next hurdle is the Big Ten championship. And they can send a statement throughout college football if they beat Indiana, which early prognostications, I think they will. I think this Matt Patricia defense is something that not many college football teams have seen before. He's playing a pro-style defense in college, and that's hard to do. But when you have the All-American Caleb Downs back there, you can do a whole lot. And so I just think that Ohio State early will impose their will on Indiana. I think they'll be more physical than Indiana. I'm not saying they're going to blow Indiana out of the water. Indiana is going to compete, okay? Their quarterback, Mendoza, like I said, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. He's not just going to stand back there and take it, okay? He's going to have to – he's got to go out and he's going to have to beat that Buckeye defense, all right? And that front seven, which is probably one of the best front sevens in the country, okay? So I'm looking forward to that, and then I'm looking forward to the BCS getting into the tournament and seeing how it falls down because, like I said, you still have Indiana there. You have Oregon, Texas A&M. There's some good football teams that will be in the college football playoff. Okay, but I'm a Buckeyes guy. Was raised a Buckeyes guy and gonna always be a Buckeyes guy. So I'm gonna ride the Ohio State Buckeyes. So yes, this is a good day in Buckeye Nation. The fact that you beat the Michigan Wolverines and the fact how you beat the Michigan Wolverines. Not the fact that you beat them, you pounded them. You pounded them. They couldn't do much of nothing. They were completely suffocated today. And so, like I said, there's a bit of vindication for Ryan Day. Ryan Day was vindicated today. I saw I saw Tom Brady was in the house. Charles Woodson, they all in that. They're all to Michigan. They got Derek Jeter. He didn't even go to Michigan, but he's in the house. That's fine. That's what this rivalry is all about. That's what it is all about. Okay. And so it was, for me as a Buckeyes fan, it was very enjoyable to watch Ohio State do what they do. Literally. And just enjoy watching what took place. Okay. So Buckeye win, what was it, 24-9 or 27-9. And so now they move on to the Big Ten championship, like I said again, versus Indiana University. So that will be next Saturday. Okay. We'll see what time because it's going to be late. So it may not be a locker room next Saturday because I'm going to sit up and I'm going to enjoy that. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cavaliers lost to the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA Cup. They needed to win to go into the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup, which I told y'all last week, I really don't care about the NBA Cup. I think it's a waste of time. But they had an opportunity to go into the semis or the quarters, I believe. Quarters or semifinals. And they lost to an Atlanta Hawks basketball team. So without really getting into a rant, the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though I realize what Kenny Atkinson is doing, and I'll explain in a moment for those that are not really paying attention, the Cleveland Cavaliers are frustrating. And here is why. Atlanta is a decent team, but the Atlanta Hawks are not better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell went for 40. That is a recipe of losing. When you have Donovan Mitchell having to go supernova just to keep you in the game. It was too many turnovers. It was their transition defense was horrid. They would not get back on defense. I don't know how many leak outs, or as we called in the streets, cherry picking that the Atlanta Hawks did. There was no force that the Cavaliers brought. I said this once, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it until I see something different. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are what I call Jags. And what are Jags? Jags are just another guy. That's all they are out there. Just another guy. Evan Mobley, I've been very, very critical of Evan Mobley. And here's why. Evan Mobley is just going through the motions. Now, before I get into him and Jared Allen, let me say this. Because I know how the locker room, my locker room nation, how my fans are going to be. Well, Kenny Atkinson is out there putting 8, 9 different lineups out there. How can they get any continuity? Okay, I'll give you that. But where I grew up, basketball is basketball. The key to that is you get the ball and you put it in the hole. That's what you do. On the defensive end, you defend and you talk. You rebound and you run. Now, I know I'm making it more simple than it probably is in the NBA. Never played in the NBA, never coached in the NBA. But to me, basketball is still basketball. And right now, the Cavaliers are playing a frustrated style of basketball because I'm seeing a lot of one-on-one, a lot of ISO ball. There's no ball movement, okay? Evan Mobley is just running around doing absolutely nothing. There is no aggressiveness that's coming out of him. He's not on the box looking for the ball, trying to put in work. Jared Allen, if Jared Allen is not in a pick and roll situation, Jared Allen is absolutely useless offensively. Lonzo Ball, as good of a passer and defender as Lonzo Ball is, when we get to the playoffs, if he does not consistently hit a jump shot, he won't have to worry about anybody guarding him. Lonzo Ball right now can't shoot his way out of a wet paper bag if you gave him a bag full of bullets. Okay? Larry Nance Jr. is in a funk. He's been in a funk in the last couple of months. Now, it's early in the season. But there are some things that's got to be adjusted. Darius Garland is not totally healthy yet. He's getting there, but he's not totally healthy. And Darius Garland has a preponderance of he likes to jump and pass the ball, which is a cardinal rule for point guards. You don't jump and look for a pass. But he consistently does it. He had some goofy turnovers last night. Donovan Mitchell is doing too much. Now, like I said, and hopefully everybody will listen to this commentary in its entirety instead of taking pieces. Excuse me. It's early in the season. When the Cleveland Cavaliers are fully healthy, they will be the deepest team in the NBA next to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I am not afraid of the New York Knicks. I am not afraid of the Philadelphia 76ers, nor the Boston Celtics, nor the Orlando Magic, nor the Indiana Pacers. I'm not afraid of any of those, the Milwaukee Bucks, not afraid of any of those teams when the Cavaliers are fully healthy. The question is, what do you do with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? And here is my solution. The way that Evan Mobley plays right now, there's no way that you can play Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on the floor together at once. You can't. Evan Mobley went for 22 and I think 12 the game prior to the Atlanta Hawks. Well, what was he playing? He was playing the 5. He was the center. Jared Allen had his finger he was on some type of management because of his finger. And Evan Mobley had 22 and 11. There's your formula right there. And I know that Evan Mobley does not desire to play the 5. Evan Mobley doesn't have a choice. I don't understand, because I'm tired of seeing my 7-foot defensive player of the year standing out at the 3-point line. I said this in a previous broadcast. He's a shooter. He's not a maker. There's a difference. So I'm tired of seeing my 7-footer standing out in the perimeter. The biggest mistake that Kenny Atkinson made, the biggest mistake that he made was he said in a press conference that he's going to allow Evan Mobley to shoot threes. That was the biggest mistake, because all you did was get him off the box. And I will say this, and somebody prove me wrong. I'll be the first one to admit if I'm wrong. Have you watched Evan Mobley in the post? Evan Mobley has no post game whatsoever. Tell me his series of moves in the post. He has nothing. Not a jump hook. Not a fade, nothing, not an up and under. He has nothing. Why? Because he spends more time out at the 3-point line than he does on the box. Jared Allen doesn't have a myriad of post moves either. So my issue is you're asking Evan Mobley to do something that mentally he's not capable of doing. Evan Mobley is not a post player. He should be. You would think that at 7 feet tall, that Evan Mobley would be a post player. You would think at 6'11" that Jared Allen would be a post player. But they are neither. Okay? So what would my solution be? My solution would be Evan Mobley would move to the 5. Evan Mobley would move to the 5. DeAndre Hunter would be my 4. And I would have to figure out, if Max Strus comes back, Max Strus would be my 3. Or, somewhere in there. Max Strus would be my 3. DeAndre Hunter would be my 4. And Evan Mobley would be my 5. Because at least with Donovan Darius and Max Strus, you got 3 perimeter shooters. DeAndre Hunter can hit it from the outside, but he also has an ability to penetrate. I just would not play Jared Allen and Evan Mobley together anymore. And then Kenny has to figure out what to do when Darius is not on the floor. If it's Craig Porter Jr., which I don't have a problem with, fine. If it's Lonzo Ball, I'm fine with that. However, Lonzo Ball has to start shooting the ball better. He's like at 33% from the 3-point line. He's got to be better, or else teams are not going to definitively play him. They're going to play him for the drive. They're going to play him for the pass. They're not going to play him for a shot. They're going to play off of him. Okay? They're going to do to him what they did to Russell Westbrook a couple of years ago when Russell was struggling with his jump shot at a point in time. They just backed off of him. But see, Russell kept working, so now you can't back off of Russell Westbrook anymore. Well, right now, Lonzo Ball has got to figure it out in terms of shooting. because he's a liability on the floor. And if you have him and Dean Wade on the floor together, Dean Wade can't hit the side of a parked car. Every time Dean Wade shoots the ball, I get nervous. So if you have Lonzo Ball out there and you have Dean Wade out there, you're playing a 5-on-3. You have 2 non-shooters, okay, depending on the other 3 guys that you have. Okay, now, am I being overly critical in the beginning of the season? Sure, I am. I'm being overly critical. I'm not asking for them to win 16 in a row. I will say this. I said this last week. I will reiterate it this week. Kenny Atkinson is practicing during the regular season. Kenny Atkinson is running practice during the regular season. Because he does not care about winning 64, 65 games. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the NBA Cup. He could care less about that if you're really and truly asking. He cares about having this team healthy for a playoff run. Now, does he want to win the Eastern Conference? Sure. Number 1 seed is probably, yeah. Okay. But in terms of running roughshod through the Eastern Conference, Kenny could care less. He ain't afraid of Toronto. And let me tell y'all this. For those that are like into the Toronto Raptors, I caution you. Here's why. Brandon Ingram is an ankle twist away from being out for the season. Brandon Ingram is Mr. Glass. He's going on a tear right now, but Brandon Ingram is so injury prone. And if y'all gonna put y'all entire season on Scotty Barnes, I think Scotty Barnes is the most overrated player in the NBA, or one of the most overrated players in the NBA. I know people gonna come at me. I ain't got no problem with it. Scotty Barnes is an overrated player. I don't see anything in Scotty Barnes' game that says, whoa, we gotta guard Scotty Barnes. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. But Toronto, and I heard Kendrick Perkins saying they for real. Okay. I love Big Perk, but I don't agree with his assessment. I think Toronto is smoke and mirrors. I really do. Okay. I think Toronto is smoke and mirrors. So they can go ahead and beat each other up. I think the Cavs are slow walking this. I think when they fully get healthy, then I told some my nephews, I said once the Cavs are fully healthy, I think they'll make their run after the All-Star break in February. I think that's when you'll start seeing the true Cavalier team, the ball movement, the man movement, the ball has energy, things of that nature. I think this Evan Mobley experiment, they're going to scrap. I think they're just looking at Evan Mobley just to be whoever he is. I don't think, they're looking at Evan Mobley to go for 30 and 20. I don't see that in Evan Mobley's game. I don't think he has the mentality to do that. 20 and 8 or 20 and 10, I can see that out of Evan Mobley consistently. But he's got to fix his game. Because right now, this dribble drive stuff at 7 feet tall, I don't need my 7-footer bringing the ball up. I need him at the high post killing folks. I need him on the box, taking folks to school. Then occasionally you step out and you hit that distance shot to make the defense play you. That's Evan Mobley to me. And if you pay attention, Evan Mobley is not as demonstrative on the defensive end as he used to. So a lot of his game is suffering right now because I think Evan Mobley's trying to figure it out. But I would not put him and Jared Allen on the floor together. Not anymore. Not anymore. I think Jared Allen works well with the second unit. Jared Allen against a second unit center, I think he just destroys him. Because Jared Allen runs. Okay. But when you got your core 4 and DeAndre Hunter out there, you actually lack some offensive power down low. You honestly do. because Evan Mobley is not posting up down low. And when Jared Allen posts up, ain't nobody really looking at him down there. You got to have somebody that's going to command the box. I'm not saying he's got to be Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett his mindset is completely different than everybody else's. I'm not saying he got to be Tim Duncan. I'm not saying that. Okay. But he's got to, him and Jared Allen, speaking of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, has to be able to put some force on the box. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Evan Mobley's got guys guarding him that shouldn't be guarding him. He doesn't have traditional centers guarding him. He's got these little power forwards guarding him. He should be on the box. Brad Daugherty said it on the broadcast once. Brad Daugherty told him, like, look, you need to get on there and you need to start throwing some jump hooks on these guys. These guys can't block your jump hook. They can't block you. You know, and I don't know if Evan's not listening or he's just, I don't know. But right now the Cavs are just muddling through mud right now, I believe, till everybody gets healthy. Okay. So I don't know when their next game is, but I know it's either tomorrow or Monday. 9 times out of 10 is Monday because after they got eliminated from the NBA Cup, they had to add a couple games on there. And I think it's Charlotte that they play. That's coming up. All right, y'all. If you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I don't know what you guys are waiting on. Y'all need to go to YouTube, type in the Locker Room, and you'll see this picture here that you see, and you'll see my face on there, and you can go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share, with everybody, okay? Like I said, I'm Cleveland born, I'm Cleveland bred. I'll be that guy until I am Cleveland gone, okay? I love my Cleveland sports. I've been involved in Cleveland sports for a very long time. I am a transplant out here in Phoenix, Arizona, but I follow my Cleveland sports. I love my sports. I'm also 1/3 of the 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. That's another podcast you guys can check out. 3 guys from Cleveland. My man, Terrence Austin, called him the captain, and L Train, Lionel Jones, and myself. We are members of 3 the Hard Way, and we always talk about Cleveland sports, okay? So if you have not liked, comment, subscribe, and shared for 3 the Hard Way, I double dog, triple dog dare you to do that. And I quadruple dog dare you to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the Locker Room, all right? If you haven't, you should. And when you're done, let me know about it, all right? Hit me up in the comments, okay? All right, now, here we go. Tomorrow, the Cleveland Browns, are 3-8 Cleveland Browns, play the San Francisco 49ers at First Energy Stadium. It is Shedeur Sanders' first start at home. I think it's going to be packed. I think it's going to be electric. I think Shedeur is going to do well. I'm not going to sit up here and say he's going to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. But I think he's going to do better than what he did against the Raiders. Now, it's a formidable challenge because the 49ers and Robert Saleh have a really decent defense. They are missing some guys, but they have a really decent defense. But I'm very anxious to see how Shedeur performs. I'm rooting for the kid. I want to see him be successful. And I've had people ask me, this thing with Kevin Stefanski not giving him a game ball. Now, of course, I have all my Shedeur apologists who I appreciate y'all for watching the program. But listen, y'all, as a Cleveland fan, as a guy who's watched all 41 quarterbacks since 1999 come through, I could give a rat's rectum about a game ball. I heard Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp, shout out to them, talk about Kevin Stefanski not giving him a game ball. Nobody cares about a game ball. All I care about is winning. All I care about is that young man winning. And let's break it down. when Dylan Gabriel won his first game as a Browns quarterback, he didn't get a game ball. The one thing, now don't get me wrong, do I pound on Kevin Stefanski when he deserves it? Yes. But I'm not going to pound on him when it's unwarranted. The one thing about Kevin Stefanski that I have noticed is he's consistent. Whether it's consistently good or consistently bad, he's consistent. He didn't give Dylan Gabriel a game ball. He didn't give Shedeur Sanders a game ball. He gave Myles Garrett a game ball. Well, why did he do that? Because Myles Garrett is getting ready to obliterate the sack record. He's about to blow it apart. And he's your franchise defensive end. I don't care that Shedeur didn't get a game ball. All I care about is Shedeur won. That's all I care about. Okay? And if he wins against the 49ers, that's my concern. I want to see him be successful. Okay? I want to see Shedeur go out tomorrow and run this team like it should be ran, because every time he does something and every time that Shedeur Sanders is successful, he puts the Browns organization in a conundrum, because they're trying to decide what they're going to do with those first round picks. And if Shedeur Sanders is the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, now you've just taken those 2 first round picks and you have begun to rebuild your ball club in a manner which I call it a soft rebuild. That's what the Browns are doing. It's a soft rebuild. So if Shedeur Sanders is your franchise quarterback, now you can take those 2 first round picks, you can take your second round picks, and you can now rebuild this football team. And I won't get into that. I'll get into that in my rant, how to fix this football team, because I believe I have a formula. I'm not the end all of all, but I believe I have a formula. So how do I believe, or how do I think Shedeur will do? I think he will do a very good job. I know he's aware that the 49ers are going to rush him. They're going to come at him. So the Browns need to establish Quinshon Judkins. Okay. They need to establish the run game at home. Okay. I heard it's already snow on the ground. It's going to be cold. It's going to be Cleveland Browns weather. San Francisco ain't ready for that. So I believe if the Browns can establish Judkins, Dylan Sampson, I don't want to see Jerome Ford anymore. But if they can establish the run game, it takes a lot of pressure. It puts Shedeur in 3rd and 3 or 3rd down and 5, things of that nature, manageable types of 3rd downs. We can't have Shedeur 3rd and 15. That's not going to work. Okay. This defense is going to get after Brock Purdy. We'll see how it goes down. Christian McCaffrey is available, and Christian McCaffrey is an all-pro. So you got to be able to recognize Christian McCaffrey. The last time the Browns played him, I think McCaffrey got hurt. He didn't finish that game. That was the I call him JJ Walker. That was the Walker game at quarterback. So I see the Browns. Now, if you want a prediction, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think if Myles and the defensive line can get off, I think San Francisco are going to have a tough time. But do I believe that the 49ers possibly can win this game? Sure. But I think it's going to be tough to do. So I'm committal but non-committal. I know y'all can hear that. All right. So looking forward to that tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing the Browns defense, because they are top 5 defense in the NFL. Looking for Schlesinger to continue his rookie defensive rookie of the year campaign. I'm looking forward to seeing if Myles Garrett can come closer to the record. I believe he has 18 sacks now. The record is, I think, 22 and a half. I think Myles is on a pace to absolutely obliterate that. I know somebody talked about he's on a pace to get 30 sacks in the season. I don't think he's gonna get that. I think teams will begin to start running away from him. But what I have said from a football standpoint is Myles Garrett has gotten off the way he has because of the development of the defensive line. Because with the Mason Graham, with Schlesinger, Isaiah McGuire, those guys, you can't double team Miles every single play. You can't. So where people saying Myles Garrett has made that defensive line better, I believe that defensive line has made Myles Garrett better. And so we'll see tomorrow. I believe if that defensive line can get off, I think it's going to be a hard game for San Francisco. And so I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. All right. So finally, here we go. My coach's rant. And once again, before I get into that, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I'm telling y'all, I'm double daring y'all to go ahead and subscribe to the Locker Room. If you have not subscribed to 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast, I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to subscribe to 3 The Hard Way. Just type in 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast. You will see me, L Train, and the Captain. And go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share. All right? Because all your comments, whether they're negative or positive, I love it. And for me, like I've always said, you may not like what I say, but you will listen. And I'm for all the smoke. I got no problem when people disagree with me. That's okay. I'm good with that. Just come with facts. I had some people come across my, in my inbox and, dropping insults or whatever. Listen, that don't faze me. You know what I'm saying? If you disagree with me, that's fine. Just give me your facts. If you can't give me facts, but you just disagree with my take, then I'm not paying no attention to you. You come with facts. If your facts make sense, I'll acknowledge that. Because we can always agree to disagree. But I had one person, he just wanted to throw insults. Hey, keep your insults to yourself. That don't faze me, dude. I'm gonna keep talking. That's all I'm gonna do. All right. So here we go. Finally, your coach's rant. So if I were the owner of the Cleveland Browns or the general manager, how do I fix the Cleveland Browns? Now, like I said before, earlier in this broadcast, I think that Andrew Berry is doing a soft rebuild. It's not a hard rebuild because the defense is good. Defense is not elite. Those folks that are calling the defense elite, I beg to differ with you. The Browns defense is very good. They're not elite. And how do I put elite together? Elite defenses score. Just bottom line. Elite defenses score. The Ray Lewis Ravens, the 85 Bears, the Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp Tampa Bay Buccaneers, John Lynch Buccaneers. Those are elite defenses. The Legion of Boom in Seattle. Those are elite defenses. Why? They scored. From a defensive standpoint, they scored. The Browns are a very good defense. When the Browns start scoring defensively, consistently, that's when they move into the elite category. And Jim Schwartz is probably one of the great hires that the Browns have had. Great hire. But how do I fix the Cleveland Browns in this soft rebuild? Okay, you already have Quinshon Judkins, who is your bell cow running back. You already have Dylan Sampson, who's your lightning running back. You got Thunder, you got Lightning. Joe Bitonio is going to retire. Ethan Posich and Wyatt Teller are long in the tooth. Jack Conklin, longer than both of them. DeJuan Jones, Big Thanos, you don't know what you're going to get out of him because that young man cannot stay healthy. So you're going to have to rebuild your entire offensive line because your backup linemen are they're not even consideration. And even the draft picks that you have at line, they're not. So the best way to build your line is through the draft. Now, I'm not going to say who they need to draft. I haven't gotten it that deep into research. But I believe the Browns can rebuild through the draft. You also need to fix your wide receiver room. And I think you take that first round pick. And I think if you are in position, I believe you go get Carnell Tate out of the Ohio State. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Buckeyes fan. I'm saying it because he is a number one receiver. So now, because I don't believe Jerry Jeudy's a number one. I believe Jerry Jeudy's a number two, a quality number two. I don't believe Jerry Jeudy's your number one option. So now if you have Carnell Tate on one side, you have Jerry Jeudy on the other side, okay? And now at that point, appreciate that, Doom. Now at that point, you have now gotten your number one receiver. You've gotten your former number one receiver is now your number two receiver. And then you can take Isaiah Bond, and now Isaiah Bond, your speed guy, is your slot receiver. I get rid of a couple of other receivers. Well, not a couple. Cedric Tillman. I would get rid of Cedric Tillman because Cedric Tillman reminds me of Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's the same body type, same frame, can't stay healthy. He's Donovan Peoples-Jones. And so I think the experiment on him is over. So I'm going to go, if I can get something for him, I would. If not, I'm just going to outright release him because there's nothing else. Okay. Personnel wise, would I let Kevin Stefanski go? Yeah. But I've heard a lot of people ask this question: who do you replace him with? So my mind is this, and once again, this is my thought. This is how I feel. It ain't got to be yours. This is just the way it is. I would take Jim Schwartz, and I will make Jim Schwartz my head coach. Why? Because he's still going to call the defense. Okay. I would keep Tommy Rees as my offensive coordinator, and I will make him the offensive coordinator, period. The only other coach that I would probably get rid of is Bubba Ventrone because the special teams have been horrible this year. Bubba Ventrone would have to go. I like Deuce Staley at the running back position. As running backs coach, I like Deuce Staley, so I'm going to keep Deuce Staley. But I'm going to bring back the former offensive line coach that the Browns had. I'm going to pay him since his son got fired. I'm going to bring him back because I'm rebuilding my offensive line from scratch. To me, that's a quick fix because Andrew Berry has stockpiled so many draft picks. And for a lot of you who's sitting up looking for Arch Manning, all you Arch Manning people, if I can be honest with you, Arch Manning has already declared that he's going back to Texas. And with the season that Arch Manning is having right now, he needs to go back to Texas. Period. So then who are you drafting at quarterback, y'all? Who are you drafting? Sonora Sellers? Okay. Are you drafting Sonora Sellers? No, because he's getting ready to transfer. Okay. You're going to get the kid from Indiana. Because, see, think about this. If you trade, if you draft a quarterback, it's going to take him at least 2 years to get an understanding. So that's 2 more years you're waiting, where you have Shador, They're going to cut Deshaun Watson because they have a $40 million insurance policy that's going to be kicking in on him. So he's an $80 million cap hit, but they can at least get half of that. You're going to keep Dylan Gabriel because Dylan Gabriel is a 3rd round pick. You're not going to get rid of Dylan Gabriel. Not unless somebody give you an out of sight type of deal for him, which I don't think anybody will. So now you're going into the regular season with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, and then you pick up, let's say, Snoop Huntley as your 3rd string quarterback. Okay? Because Bailey Zappi's not it. Stop. I'm going to get Snoop Huntley. That's it. Or Tyrod Taylor. I'm going to get a veteran that I know that if I got to throw him in, he's not going to hurt me. You've just simply rebuilt your entire offense. And just to make the fans feel good, I'm going to sign Nicholas Jamal Chubb to a free agent deal on my dime, and I'm going to bring him back to Cleveland and let him finish his career in Cleveland. I'm not saying he's going to be the main running back, but if you got Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins, and then you have Nick Chubb, tell me your running back room does not become exponentially better just by Nick Chubb's experience. And that is how I rebuild the Cleveland Browns offense. Very simple. All right. All right, y'all. That is it. Listen, I hope you guys had a fabulous Thanksgiving. I hope you guys got to eat everything y'all wanted to eat, but I want y'all to remember that Thanksgiving is just not about eating. Thanksgiving is about being thankful of the family and the friends and the people that you have around you. And also, just say a prayer always for those that are less fortunate than you are, because everybody needs prayer. I want y'all to understand that. All right. Listen, I enjoy hanging around with y'all. Remember, if you have not subscribed to 3 The Hard Way Sports Podcast and or the Locker Room, I want you to do the same. I want you to like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell me what you think about this episode. All right. And so thank y'all once again for joining me. And always remember, love on somebody. Tell somebody that you love them.
This goes out.
Don't always assume that they know. I will see you guys down the road. Peace.
All my people. No matter where you at, man, straight. This was for you. I feel the pain from so many mothers crying, cause every single day I see another brother die. It don't make sense. Somebody make it make sense. And all the fathers try to decide to live in hell, cause ain't nothing nice seeing your son inside a cell. It don't make sense. So please make it make sense. Yeah. Our neighborhoods ain't the same, it's a shame. It used to be love, but now we